What's up, man?
Howdy, how you been?
I've been all right. It sounded like you want to chat in the hallway, but
Oh no, I
couldn't
was
hear
saying
you.
the craziest shit happened.
What's that?
Yeah, somebody came up here and complained about somebody, like claiming they were doing some crazy ass shit, like saying they were a criminal or some shit. It was weird.
Someone complained they were being a criminal?
Yeah,
What?
like someone complained that another officer said that he was a criminal in front of other officers and he was making them look bad and he was real sad about
Just
it.
tell him
real
to suck a dick.
sniffly. Yeah, I mean I wanted to, but you know how people get in this city.
What? You're gonna get canceled over telling someone that to suck a dick?
Oh no, I'm not canceled. But then they start crying and bitching and moaning, which is much
Cornwood,
worse.
people cry, bitch, and moan regardless.
Yeah, that is true. But check this out. This is what happens afterwards. So we end up getting calls about off-duty officers missing or something.
Yeah.
And we cannot find who the hell this off-duty officer is.
Okay.
So this guy comes and complains.
There's an off-duty officer. Yeah.
Who
well,
apparently
I mean,
has gotten
there's no way
kidnapped.
to know because.
And there's no way to know.
Yeah. Or is there?
So, well, there is, but I don't know.
is there any?
So,
like-
so,
Wait, how did we know there was some? Wait, what?
so, okay, here's what happened. So there were 2 phone calls. I'm trying my radio for a second. So there were 2 phone calls that were made.
Okay.
So there's 2 phone calls that are made. One of which goes to Declan, who is the officer he is complaining about. Right?
Who's Declan?
So Declan is Alan Crane's, Chief Justice Crane's grandson. I like Declan.
Okay.
Crane thinks he's a jackass and don't like him because he thinks he's an embarrassment. Didn't get into law like the rest of the family, all that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Typical.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You know Crane's family. Have you met Agatha?
No.
You haven't met his sister?
I don't think so.
I gotcha. Holy fuck, damn. Okay, anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So, Declan receives a call talking about hentai and shit. Somebody was threatening him. Kind of, it was like an ominous call. He was like masking his voice or some shit,
Yeah.
talking about hentai. Then he was which is, I mean, crazy as shit. Why you mentioned hentai and shit?
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know about until this guy was complaining.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Bay. I'll
Wait,
head
so
up there.
wait, is there a dead cop?
All right, bye-bye.
We cannot find nobody, and we have no report of
Oh.
it.
There's no like clues or anything?
All we found was we found some words, but
Right.
well, let me get to it. Okay. So Declan gets this weird ass calls in on the radio.
When is your bitch ass gonna confront me about what happened about a month ago?
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Aziz told me what happened.
Well, you spent 2 weeks going around calling me Lion Knight. I had
Yeah, but that's
5
funny.
different people bring it up. Bitch, if
Yeah,
I
but
go around call you like Yapwood or something like that.
Yeah, but that don't rhyme. Lion Knight is
does.
pretty damn
It's-
funny.
Yeah, so is Yapwood.
No, it doesn't. Corn and yap don't rhyme.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, no, but it is. Because Lion
No,
and Brian,
that's not
pretty
true.
funny. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways,
Yeah, okay.
whatever. Okay, yeah. Well, so I mean, did you talk to Aziz? I'd been meaning to speak to you because, fucking Slacks. Oh my god, I don't even know how it happened, but, I heard y'all like so. Aziz told
To
me
be
what
fair,
happened. to y'all.
Brian is a better name for that. Because you could say
for
like
what?
lion, Brian. You know what I mean? It rhymes better, more words. 'Cause
Yeah,
you can say
man,
like crying
having a-
night.
Yeah, definitely talking about like credibility of another officer and their word in front of what may end up being a jury later. Yep. But anyways,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, anyway,
Yeah.
Aziz told me what happened. He told me you went and clarified that shit to the
Yes.
captains,
The
and
next
they
morning,
did not put it in the statement.
no, not only did they not put it in the statement, there was a statement that was 30 minutes long. I spent 30 minutes the next morning.
Okay.
And so when I got brought into the captain's office, or not the captain's office, I spoke to like Slacks, Ruby, and it might have been McNulty or whatever. And so Slack starts
Was it
reading off
Ruth?
the statement. No.
Okay.
And he goes, okay, well, let me read you the statement. He starts reading me the statement from like the night before when I was cooked, and there was like a fucking thing in there like, hey, gonna write a report tomorrow when I'm not fucking cooked. And so I came in and gave a statement directly to the captain and Aldo. Like I said, it was like
So
30
wait, so
minutes.
this was to Ruth and Aldo?
Yeah.
Holy
Outside.
shit, Brian.
And he did a good job writing it because you could tell he writes really fast, and I had him like read back some of it. So when Slacks like read me back my statement, I was like, okay, is this it? And he's like, oh, this is now, to be fair, Slacks is kind of a fish brain a little bit. So like he wasn't understanding what I was saying. Like I kept saying like, I gave a separate statement, and he just kept reading the same one back. But it took about 15 minutes till he realized that there's another, like he, for whatever reason, he wasn't convinced.
To be kidding me.
Like I don't think he would comprehend that there was literally a completely, entirely from scratch, like statement made. And that what he kept reading, like he was trying to gaslight me into believing that the statement he was reading was definitely the updated statement, which it certainly wasn't. Because he just kept reading me back the one from the night before that I wrote. But anyways, yeah. So
Right.
I don't know what happened with it. I remember sending Aldo an email because I'm just like what the fuck, right?
Okay.
And I don't know what became of that. Well, not that it really matters at this
Holy
stage.
shit.
Yeah.
You have got to be kidding. Brian, I'm actually losing my damn mind over here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 30 minutes. I mean, it might have been more, to be honest. It was pretty extensive.
Yeah, hell.
Um,
That is.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I literally said to Slacks, I said, I do not have any idea how this whole thing is even happening. I've known Brian for years. You know, because you and I weren't in together. You came back from being, I don't know, sabbatical. I don't know what you were, right? But you were gone for a while. But then the last couple of months that I was around is when you came back around.
like back in the
remember
day, or
Like back in the day, like 8 years ago.
oh yeah. I don't remember when that was. Was it before or after I was chief of police?
Before. I mean, this is whenever I was captain.
Yeah, a lot of things happen. Look, I did bring that up. I did bring up like, listen, I've been in this police force for like very long, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying that like in any kind of like tenured kind of way. I don't really give a fuck about rank or any of that shit.
No, I get that.
But a lot's kind of changed with me over time, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I went through transitions of like, listen, brother, I used to like piss on fucking strippers and mag dump them with an automatic rifle, right?
That's great.
I've been suspended for 30 days straight, 3 times over. And slowly, sort of by the end of it, I issued more like strike points and fired more cops in a span of like 3 months while chief. My point there is like a lot with I changed a lot over that course of time.
Right.
And so I think understandably us not know like seeing each other for so long, I can understand like you kind of having maybe an expect or a thought of like who I may be today versus what you remember me as. And listen, I'm not like a fucking, I'm not saying like I'm a, listen, I don't really give a fuck, quite frankly, what we do in the PD at this stage, right? I'm also not that hardcore as I used to be. But what I mentioned to Aziz was what happened that day is mostly a side effect of, and I'm going to tell you who I'm going to blame on this, is like hearing who Gregory Johnson had just gotten fired, right? And I just shot this motherfucker, and I'm like, here we go again. Brian shot somebody.
Right.
What the you know what I'm saying? Like I fucking put motherfucking 60 people in for 30 years in Sanguine. And we had fucking terrorist sympathizers in the police department divulging sensitive information to literal terrorists. And like listen, and there was a lot of like, oh my God, Brian, how could you know what I'm saying? Like looking for like every little. So I've got this going through my mind, and I'm cooked, and we were speaking like at my like 17th, 18th hour. I didn't know what the fuck was happening in front of me.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, half of what you just said is what I was telling the captains. I was like, you got to understand, you know, the circumstances behind this. It's very easy to misunderstand what was actually happening because you know, it'd been a long day for everybody. You know, he's stressed as shit. He just shot somebody. He ain't seen me in a long time. I ain't seen him in a long time. You know, it's actually crazy as shit that you just mentioned all the same damn things.
Yeah.
That I was saying to you know, Captain Slacks, and you know, whenever I was talking about, I don't know what the hell happened there. I mean, 100%.
I mean, the amount of times that I had to say like, I was so cooked, I didn't know if they were trolling or being serious or like, you know, it just, but I think too much of it was like kept being hyper focused on the, like finding a suspect in a way, like if that makes sense, like finding the fault as opposed to like, how do we resolve this? And I'm going to tell you right now, I, the next day dealt with, I'm not even going to say the officer's name because it's been long enough. I'm just going to call it Senior Officer Dumbass, who tells me in a pursuit that they attached to.
Holy shit. I already know this is going.
Senior Officer Dumbass told me, oh, you know about this?
Yeah. No, the same
over the
same
fucking
one.
radio to turn on the lights in high traffic at 120 miles an hour. And I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck did this person get promoted? Like you couldn't like possibly have been on patrol for more than like 2 weeks if you think turning off the lights is in any way safe. But whatever. We lost the suspect. I ended up crashing over this. It was just like we were pissed because like we almost fucking died over it. Let alone like why the fuck is this person blaring over the radio? That's not how. That's shit radio etiquette. So
wait, hold on. She yelled at you during a pursuit? I didn't hear that.
Oh yeah, it was during it. Like cluttered the comms. Lord. Like why the fuck are you arguing over radio? Like that's something you handle after the fact. Yeah, so I get approached afterwards, right? And you know, it's like, yeah, you know, I apologize, whatever. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take that. You know, that takes a big person to go and do it. And I said, like, listen, what you did was fucking unprofessional as shit. And you know, I'm going to tell you that. And if there's an issue, you know, you can handle it afterwards and we're doing things differently. Like, you know, I'm definitely down to learn for it. But like, I almost died. My passenger almost died. And we lost the suspect. So I hope you kind of like take that in going forward.
Who are you riding with?
Nakota. And Suarez was in the front. And like, you know, we've been doing pursuit for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is not anybody who is remotely, I mean, experienced isn't even the word. I mean, it's like, that's like elementary shit is, you got to turn off your lights on the highway sometimes because otherwise you're going to crash out. The locals are crazy as shit. Yeah.
And so like, you know, after that, I was like, you know what? Whatever. Like we got this squared away, like not the end of the world, brush it under the rug. Brother, that conversation happened. Okay, the chase ended at, let's say, 1:30, like 30 minutes before the storm, 40 minutes before the storm. Conversation with her happens 5 minutes before the storm, maybe 10 minutes before the storm, right? While I've already witnessed her standing on top of a vehicle in which suspects are slamming into it, thus putting her life in danger and subsequently creating a scenario where there may now be a shootout and over escalation. So I'm already like completely like mind fucked by like what I'm witnessing in front of me. Then this conversation happens. I'm like, I bet whatever, like people like, you know, we got a new department. There's probably going to be seniors still learning, whatever. It's going to take, you know, whatever, under the rug. The meeting happens. Captain Ruth gets up there and she says, we need to, hey, as a reminder, remember, always have your lights on at all times. And I'm like, what the fuck? And there's a announcement added, and it's probably still in there. You can see it, where it's like, always have your lights on. And I'm like, did this motherfucker go into the captain about this before, like, you know what I mean? Like, what a fucking snake.
Okay. I'm telling you, I gotta tell you this. Did you hear about what happened with her and Aziz and her and Denzel?
Yes. And
yeah.
I told Aziz and Denzel afterwards, after I had experienced this, I'm like, holy fuck, I was wrong. I didn't know this is what y'all were dealing with. Where like y'all getting like, where like these DAPs are being used, not, look, I'm a strong believer in DAPs, and I'm going to bear in mind with me.
I actually understand, and I agree with the concept. I don't agree with the implementation.
Well, yes,
because people have this idea that I think you should never be punished for anything ever, and it ain't that at all. DAPs are not used to teach; they're used to punish, and they should be used to teach.
Exactly. So keep in mind, like, you know, when I first hear this, I had been barely on duty up until that stage, right? So my impression of what like a DAP is, it's like, oh, it's probably just like the strike system that we had towards the end, and those were never issued because people were afraid to issue them because officers would be very affected even if there was like one strike and it was literally impossible to get suspended. So I had an impression that like the system, which was the system we had in Davis, was this. Let's say you did something, right? I don't know, like you fucking beat the shit out of another officer. You know how it handled that? The exact same fucking day before any other call is made, you come in the office and both people, and you say, what happened? What that allows you to do is both officers, you can't lie. Like you can't snake a motherfucker because you're both in the room. And you say, okay, your side. Okay, your side. All right, easy. Here's what went wrong. Here's how it's going to correct. Do you guys understand? And if folks are leaving the office and they're like, okay, you know what? I get that. Then no issue. And maybe no strikes, no DAPs at that stage. If it's like really bad, like someone got like fucking murked or something, then obviously you got to give it a little bit. But the only time you give the full amount, like the big amount, is if you got a motherfucker like, well, I'm not going to name names. It's been 5 years. Where they're just like refusing to understand in the slightest, right? So it's like a teaching moment, if that, you know what I mean? And so like my impression is like, this is how it's working. So when it's being brought up like DAPs this, DAPs that, I'm just like, bro, what is this pussy shit? You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
And then I get it seen used, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, we motherfucking, like, how the fuck you gonna go just like dap someone and just be like, well, you did bad, because then all of a sudden you create fucking witch hunts in the goddamn department.
Yes.
And people are just fucking
Brian,
each other.
Thank God. Okay. Thank God you understand. I've been preaching this. Okay. I felt like, I'm telling you, I felt like a dadgum TV evangelist for weeks. I'm like, do we not understand any level of just like the principles of leadership here? Like we cannot run an organization like this. It's insane.
Yeah.
And the people that are on duty a lot, ended up getting to the point where they never could actually talk to anybody in leadership, and then they kept coming to me. So then I ended up being the damn megaphone for all the bullshit, because I actually would talk about it, and I would go to the captains and get in their ear about it. But then what ended up happening is I became the target, and then they tried to snip.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. If the mayor didn't step in and realize that this whole thing was bullshit, this would be a very different department right now. 100%.
Yeah.
And I probably would not be here. I'm being 100% honest, because the fact that you gave Ruth and Aldo that corrected statement, right? You clarified what happened in a point where you weren't completely exhausted. Because I said, it's, oh my Lord, I'm telling you, Brian, I said the same thing. I said that Brian said that he was going to fix his statement, and that's all I asked him to do. Just put exactly what you think happened.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to change shit, put shit in there that didn't happen, take shit out that did. I'm not asking any of that. Just be 100% honest. That is all that I asked him. And I specifically cited how Johnson had just gotten fired for a lack of integrity in terms of lying by omission or whatever, which is the same thing I told you that. Now, I don't know if you remember. I said that to you. I was like, I don't want anybody to get in trouble.
I genuinely was so cooked that we were in a car for 3 hours and I just wanted to sleep. So I don't even know.
Look, I don't blame you.
I don't even know. But that same situation also played a role in me seeing what was fucked up, because I was like, how the fuck is this shit dragging on for 2 weeks? Because the only thing it's going to do is, like, you, me, and Aziz are going to be out for each other.
Well, and
for 2 weeks as a guillotine.
I literally never saw you.
Well, but regardless, the DAP meeting shit didn't happen till 2 weeks after the incident, which means now there's 2 weeks where you have a guillotine over your head instead of being like you and you meeting today within 48 hours of the incident. And if command cannot handle it within 48 hours, then they're not doing their job. Right? They have no right.
Put everybody in a room and tell them figure this shit out like an adult.
Precisely. And
yeah.
And otherwise, it's just a lingering thing. And what makes it worse is, let's say there was an issue, right? Like, I don't know. You got it. Once again, let's use the extreme example. There's a cop out there just murking motherfuckers, right? What are you going to wait 2 weeks for that? He's going to continue murking, and that's going to keep on spreading. And, it's not like agile.
Yeah,
but
like, let's say I am hypothetically, let's say I am pushing false charges on people or whatever, and then I do that for 2 weeks. You know the amount of damage a police officer going around like charging people extra or whatever to get higher commission or whatever will do, especially somebody who's on duty as much as me and who's involved in as much shit as I'm involved in.
Yeah,
that would be very, very bad.
Oh,
for everybody. For everybody.
Yeah, just like farming paychecks, pretty much.
Yeah, that'd be bullshit. So, oh my Lord, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And this, this whole time, so I did not ever get to see you. The next time I think I saw you was when I came in, like 3 weeks after the incident, for my 24-hour review. After my initial suspension,
yeah,
I got an additional 24 hours where they were going to give me my decision. I didn't get to see you until then, and I was suspended and I was outside the MRPD where you got that 99 alpha that day.
Oh yeah.
Just so think about how crazy that is. They pushed all those DAPs on me, by the way. After I was speaking with the mayor, I called Slacks and I told the mayor, because the mayor had asked me about shit, because I'd gotten to know him through running for the election for mayor. I'd gotten to know him. And so, because I have a personal relationship with the guy, he asked me about PD shit. How's PD going?
Yeah.
And it's not me running to the mayor and, hey, mom said no, dad said go cry to your dad or whatever. I'm not doing that shit, right? But if I'm being asked, look, you know how I am. I'm an honest son of a bitch. I'm going to tell you like it is. Right. So I tell it like it is. I say exactly what's going on. Now, I'm not going to give people privileged information. Right. But I'll be honest with them. And as somebody who's the mayor, and it's important for the health of the city to know how the PD is running.
You got to be 100%. I mean, I'm not much different. I mean, that's why I can trigger people sometimes, is like, if you come to me and you're like, I want the honest truth, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking. It may not be what you want, right? Some people want to hear like reassurances or whatever, but that's kind of, bullshit.
Yeah. So I literally, like I said, I called Slacks and I tried to tell him, I was like, hey, I told him, I said, I think Slacks should be here for this meeting. I think it's inappropriate if the captain's
Yeah.
available and he's not here and we're talking about PD shit. And then Mayor had to go. And I actually got hit with all my DAPs. Then, after I met with him, and before I told him I was going to meet with him again, I told Captain Slack, I'm going to meet with him again. So, Slack's probably got the okay to send all them damn DAPs right then and there to get me suspended. And that's when that legislation got pushed that they were going to appoint a chief or a commissioner at the time. So, that night, if that night didn't happen, I mean, who knows where it'd be at. And also, I only had 9 DAPs. They put the situation with you and me and Aziz from 2 weeks prior at that point in for my 10th DAP that was actually going to get me suspended like 3 or 4 days before my other DAPs were going to fall off and I wouldn't have gotten suspended. And that only happened because Ruth and Aldo did not give the report. They threw the report that you made in the trash, which would have said this whole thing was nothing. And we figured it out amongst ourselves like, man, holy shit.
I mean, it's been, I don't hold any, like, let's say ill will towards like, the previous captains, right? Maybe they were
gone,
given,
so I mean, even if you did, I mean, shit don't matter. They're gone.
Well, yeah. What I'm trying to say is, like, you know, I don't know if they were dealt a shit hand. I don't have the inside of it, right? I'm gonna reserve judgment. I can grossly disagree with the way that they certain things were handled. You would think someone would have been like, "Hey guys, the shit needs to be resolved within 48 hours." Not turn it into a fucking 2-week like internal investigation. That shit sucks ass. Trust me. Like when I shot that stripper in the pussy, bro, like I was there with Trooper Soze.
Wait, oh, Soze was there? Okay.
Oh yeah, he was getting I don't know if he was like, you know, he had his stripper, he's doing whatever in there. I'm pissing on her, on mine, and you know, they're like, "Oh, mag dump me, baby." And you know, I used to do it. You know, I used to go into VU and they'd let me unload my assault rifle onto them. So it was like businesses. Anyways, long story short, like fucking IA got on my ass. Yeah, it was like a 6-week ordeal.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So like I've been through the ringer, and trust me, a couple times. What's going on, Lenny?
Oh, howdy, Lenny.
You know, this is the only other cop usually I can trust to like have his fucking head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, we got a few good ones, but we definitely have some that are kind of airheads.
Oh, I'm still pissed about the. We had hunters like robbing people for 3 hours, multiple statements. We call out multiple times, like about a gray Lampadati with an individual with a monkey helmet.
Fine.
And
Holy shit.
like they fucking Lenny's the only one that like was paying attention to the fucking 311 and radio calls, to the extent that we had 4 unrelated individuals in detainment while the Lampadati drove around without anyone going after it. And then those same individuals hopped out of the vehicle and started dancing around those 4 people that subsequently got robbed. So, yeah.
Brian, I'm
Cornwood.
Howdy.
I need you to write your Tessa Lamb statement.
Oh yeah. I mean, is that not enough? Just honestly.
Wait,
If she's gonna want to take it to court. Yeah.
Tessa stabbed me in the throat.
no,
Tried to
she
kill
didn't.
me. Yeah, Tessa Lamb. Yeah.
Ex-
Yeah, I got.
What?
Yeah, so I got kidnapped by some folks who, honestly, nice guys. I mean, they weren't. Now they took my shit, but they didn't keep it. I don't know. They made me get rid of my shit, I should say. And then they kidnapped me. I'm like, okay, here we
Tessa
go.
Lamb stabbed you.
Yes. Yeah. So these guys, you know, they were good to me. They were nice to me. They were not rude or whatever. You know, they were being aggressive, but I think it was more so just so I don't shoot a son bitch, because obviously, you know, this is me we're talking about. Of course I will. I will.
swore to protect her. She was Bass's daughter.
Well, she's a fucking psycho criminal
Oh,
now.
holy
Nice.
There
shit,
is
Bass's
no
daughter, I just remembered.
way.
I just remembered. Holy shit. Oh my.
Oh, Cornwood, keep going. I'm writing your statement down.
Okay. She told me the Tessa Lamb that you knew died on the day Sam Bass died.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
She
yeah.
told me that.
Oh
And
yeah, she went
said,
crazy.
She said that Tessa Lamb is no longer, and she's like a new person or some shit. Oh my lord! Oh my. Okay, so things are,
She told you that at the stabbing?
yes,
Okay, go
Yeah.
on, please.
and I get excited when I see Tessa because I love Tessa. She's great. She's always been good to me. I always been good to her, and she was a fantastic officer into eventually being a game warden. She was a ranger the whole time, but ranger into being a game warden, all that. And I was kind of confused because she took us, or the kidnappers took me to where the mayor had his wedding reception because I brought a dolphin to the wedding reception. That's right. Okay, so I brought a dolphin to the wedding reception.
Oh no!
And
Okay.
I was a rescue. I said, this is courtesy of the Little Alamo Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
And, here we go. Is a dolphin.
Hold on, pause.
Okay.
Knight, why did you say, oh no?
I'm gonna try to summarize because this goes deep. To like a 60-second. About 5.5 years ago, about 6 years now, multiple bombs were being planted all around Los Santos, tied to a place called Rooster's Rest. Let's just say, like, gas station gets blown up, gang gets pissed off, they start attacking quote-unquote civilians. War breaks loose between these two entities, one which is pretty, let's just say, in the shadow, but mostly civilians, and another that's like a street gang. It turns into rocket firing, bombs going off for like roughly 2 to 3 weeks, and about 70% of the police department doesn't really give a fuck. Like, they don't see the patterns, they don't give a shit about civilian lives, etc., etc. Things continue to escalate because now we've just got literally just people are shitting rockets out of their ass, like just coming from God knows where. We then had the police department blown up in like Paleto. We had Mission Row PD, the building that used to stand here, have a bomb planted on it. Another one at the park ranger station, and literally, I want you to imagine this: 20 officers on duty, bomb is planted at the ranger station. It's ticking. We know it's there, and all the officers stood there watching as the suspect who planted the bomb drove off as one lone fresh officer that just got graduated from, and myself are trying to track it down.
I got behind a little bit. Bomb is planted at the ranger station. It's ticking. We know it's there. All officers stood there watching as one go up.
So that's why the ranger station right now is demolished and it's being rebuilt.
Yep.
Oh my lord.
Yep.
Holy shit. I'm listening. I just have to take
yep.
a piss. Don't talk to me. I get nervous.
Okay. So then, literally no one gives a shit, like is the best way I can describe it. Things are going off. People don't want to respond to it because they're like, oh, this is going to not lead to anything. We start, and the detective unit at the time, primarily consisting of 5 officers. We had a lot of information already that let us, through phone subpoena and phone triangulations, tie together 60 days worth of different phone logs to uncover GPS locations for every incident, subsequently leading us to find a handful of suspects. Those same suspects then planted a bomb at Mission Row PD, in which Sam Bass attempted to defuse it for some reason, and then died. We never won in court because affirmative defense wasn't really a thing. And honestly, some of those judges were, they ain't around anymore. nonetheless, it was that death of Bass that day really shook Tessa to the core. I remember she stopped coming on duty. She tended to go to this one tower that is, I want to say, just like northwest of the Lost compound. There's like an old hunter stand there. And I remember finding her there a couple times, just like completely shattered and broken. And you could tell something in her broke. She wasn't speaking in, I don't know how best to describe this, but you know, Tessa has a certain like cadence to her voice, a certain way of speaking.
Yeah.
That day,
Yeah.
it seemed like something else had. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her.
Like what? Like she was like dead inside?
I wish I've got pretty good memory when it comes to a lot of details, but it's hard to visualize a voice, if that makes sense. I can only say like she seemed very broken and open to do things that would not. You have to understand, Tessa was so upstanding that if you did something even slightly like illegal, she would take note of that, right, and take it very serious. That
Right.
After that incident, she was pretty much okay to look the other way if I decided to take matters a different route. You know what I mean? Like put a fucking gun into the suspect's mouth and blast it, type shit. So there was like
so she went from like the nice sweet Tessa that we knew or that I knew to like, you know, hard, you know, crazy Tessa, I guess. That shit, I don't know.
Yeah. Now the backdrop of all this is we had multiple investigations like running simultaneously, and one of them included a operation in which we had an undercover unit over in Sanguine who was monitoring things, and part of that investigation uncovered and this kind of ties back to how we knew who blew up Mission Road PD, tied back exchanges of rockets, explosives, etc. They had no idea this guy was on the island. He was like in deep. And very select few of us had that information coming our way. We then were managed to tie it to a handful of individuals. We, had multiple attempts to get them to stop the import. Cause like, think about it, right? This is like another country importing weapons of medium destruction onto your soil, right? If they don't stop that shit's going to get real. They wouldn't stop, and that ultimately led to war where we fucking destroyed the fuck out of them. Strapped a bomb to a EMS and kicked that bitch into a room full of terrorists. And fast forward, a bunch of people in jail, and but leading up to that, there was a lot of not so much hope in Tessa getting the resolution I think she was looking for, until perhaps the end of that war, right? You have to understand that whole thing spanned like 5 months. It wasn't just like one day we went over there and just started blowing up shit. There was a lot of development, and a lot of it was like sympathetic, right? Like people didn't, let me put it this way, Cornwood. The day after Sam Bass died, we had these fucking, I don't know what what word I want to use. I'm just going to say officers shit-talking Sam Bass to a suspect in the cells. Our chief had just died.
The day after?
Yeah. That's kind of people we were dealing with.
That is insane.
Yeah. Zero sympathy, not even like a moment of like, hey, this could happen to me. It was like, you know what? Fuck Sam Bass. I'm glad a terrorist killed him. And even if they might be linked to bombing of all our police departments and, blowing up civilians, and you couldn't make sense of the logic. So, and poor Tessa's out there in the corner knowing and seeping all this. and observing it all, and it's imagine how helpless she must have been. So
Yeah. I'm speechless. Holy shit.
yeah.
Well, that explains why she would be willing to do something like that, because it was certainly not the woman that I knew as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, y'all don't ever hear me cry, okay? I cried when I found out Sam Bass died. I did not, nobody had ever told me. You know, I remember Sergeant Bass, you know, he FTO'd me. Hell, he went from FTOing me to becoming one of my pupils years ago. And taught him damn near everything he knew eventually after he taught me what he knew. And then to hear that he died, it took a hell of a lot out of him. You know, Ruth said, Ruth is the one who told me he died. And she kind of thought it just wasn't a big deal. And he was a part of leading the failed PD. And how
No, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
The failed
Ruth said
PD?
that to
No,
me.
hell no.
Yeah.
Failed PD is post Sanguine, when there was a bunch of terrorist sympathizers that were more hyper focused on like reprimanding, you know, war heroes. I remember
Holy shit.
I had a fucking meeting with these idiots who sat there days after the war questioning some of the dumbest shit instead of dealing with potential more threats. I mean, imagine we've got these people in prison for God knows how long. No one is interrogating them. No one is trying to get deals from them. It's just, well, time to find like all the people that brought us to war. Like, what are you on, crack? I want you to think about what that, like, what you know, a department full of terrorist sympathizers, like what they would have produced over the next coming years when they actively were against stopping a terrorist state from exporting weapons. Sam Bassett was one of the few individuals that was willing to stand up for what was right.
Yeah.
Stop here and then take all your
Holy
possessions,
shit.
place them in a bag for the DOC.
Okay. I need you to. I need to actually grab your statement.
Now you
So,
will receive them back when you leave Bowling Green.
let me read it back to you so far.
Are you hungry at all right now?
Okay.
They made me get rid of my shit, I should say. They kidnapped me, and I said, okay, here we go. These guys, they were good to me. They were not rude or whatever. They were being aggressive, though. The kidnappers took me to where the mayor had his wedding reception because I brought a dolphin to the wedding reception.
Owen supported
All right,
Brian
that's
even
all I got.
90%.
Please continue.
Owen and Brian are the same person.
So, I didn't really put two and two
That's why
together.
they hate each other.
They brought me to the wedding reception place, and I was talking about.
And I'm serious
oh yeah,
about
we
that.
came here for the
They're
wedding
very
reception.
similar.
You know, I helped get the mayor and Shavonna.
Do I get the big cell?
Yeah, you can get the drunk
Oh my
tank.
god, really?
Let's talk somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, Miss Verona.
Howdy, Pinzone.
How's it going, Cardwood? All right,
Pretty good.
Right over here. I am gonna be.
I'm shitting my damn pants right now. Hearing all this.
Yeah.